Hey, hello again. Well, I'm at Lake Chelan State Park. Beautiful, pretty big park, lots of space to camp and lots of space to wander around. I'm out on a little road trip doing some paintings in this area of Washington State. It's a cold, late January day. There's a little bit of hard snow on the ground. The wind is supposed to pick up today, so I wanted to knock this painting out and then maybe go find a little more sheltered spot and do another painting this afternoon. Beautiful location right now. The wind is very gentle, very little wind, a little bit of sun, broken clouds. I love this type of lighting where the clouds roll across the scene and change the lighting scenario, change the composition. So what I'm thinking is to place the distant bank of Lake Chelan on the upper 1/3. So that'll make these distant mountains kind of small. When the sun is hitting those down in kind of this V where the valleys and ridges are coming together down at the base of the mountain, beautiful warm red rock, which in reality is a very subtle red because it's so far in the distance, but it's just gorgeous when the sun hits it. It's also gorgeous when the sun hits these snow-covered hills. I like the shape of the lake as it comes in on this curve and recedes into the distance. I think these little boat docks here offer some composition elements that I could play with. This little bank of middle ground pine trees adds a more vibrant note. I need to decide how much of this amphitheater that I'm standing in, how much of that to include. I may just exclude it completely and go with the beach down there. It's got some neat abstract snowy shapes and rocks and things to play with. I'll go with an 11 by 14 inch Centurion oil primed linen panel. As usual, I have my 1/3 lines sketched on there very lightly in charcoal just to help me get the drawing set, keep things kind of level and vertical if I need to. Got my normal colors laid out: ivory black, cold gray, titanium white, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, sap green, burnt umber, burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, cad red, cad yellow, Windsor lemon, and yellow ochre. Got some Neil McGilpin here. I'll add a little bit of that to each mix as I pre-mix my colors just to correct the viscosity. I like the paint to stick to this little side panel so it can't be too wet, but I don't like it as sticky as it often is right out of the tube, especially on a cold day. It makes it difficult to get the paint to cover the panel and slows me down when I'm trying to do a plein air painting. Got my turpentine in here. Once I'm done with the sketch and the wash, then I'll put the cap back on that and get the Gamsol out. Usually put a little bit of Gamsol in this other cup here as well. I can dip my brush in that just to help the paint to flow if it starts to tack up a bit. I've got these USB rechargeable heated gloves. I really like them. I got them last winter and they're really helpful. They've got 3 settings: hot, medium, and cool. I mean, low is it's still heating. The nice thing is they've got heating wire that goes up and around each finger, and that's really what bothers me when I'm painting in the snow. My fingers, my feet are usually okay. It's usually my fingers. So these really help. I put my nitrile gloves on right over these. They stretch over. Takes a little bit of stretching and fumbling, but works pretty well to protect them. I'll go with a quick initial sketch with a small brush and some turpentine. It's a nice cool day. There's a little bit of a breeze, so I feel good using turpentine. Right, I added some burnt sienna here to help me remember to warm up this V where the ridge lines are coming together. There's also some of that warm rock running off through here, and then this foreground, or this middle ground, distant bank in the sun will be warm as well. So I think I'm going to invent the sun and shadow pattern on this snow. I think it'll be most interesting if the sun is hitting right down here. I'm just adding a little bit of cad yellow to that burnt sienna mix, and maybe these distant peaks getting hit by the sun, and then a line of sunlight kind of coming in from this side. Something like that. So now I can go with this bigger brush and do the turpentine wash. I'll throw a little bit of this ultramarine, alizarin crimson mix into the sky. Let's see, I think I want to throw in some clouds too while I have this brush out. I'll just use this cad yellow as well for some sunstruck clouds. This is going to be dark, so it'll be nice to have some sunstruck clouds kind of peeking right behind it. I think it was Edgar Payne that said, if you're going to have clouds, then you have to have cloud shadows too in your landscape. And it's great advice, and it's fun to add cloud shadow. It really adds drama. And another fun thing about it is you can invent the clouds and the cloud shadows, where you want the shadows to hit, where you want the light to hit. Okay, something like that. After I get the sketch in, then I'll go into the turpentine wash. Now in the turpentine wash, that's where I normally play a little bit with the composition, move things around, scrub out the lightest lights, darken some of the darks, and just kind of come up with an abstract pattern of shapes, sizes, and directions of angles that looks good to me, feels good to me, that I'll want to continue on. Also, I just love the kind of washy abstract effects you get as the turpentine bleeds down the panel and dries out. It's really interesting, really fun to play with. I'm always careful not to spill my turpentine or my Gamsol in the environment. Try not to make a mess, and I always take my trash out with me. I don't leave trash for others. Where this sets up, take a paper towel and wipe away some of the light pattern that I want to preserve. Take this evergreen long flat and carve out those light shapes on the mountains again. It's set up a little bit. I can just re-wet it with turpentine and it comes right off. Alright, I've got some colors mixed up. Got real high value cerulean blue for the blue of the sky, and then a purple cloud showing. Then I've got some snow on those distant mountains and the rock and trees on the distant mountain, all very high value, very blue-gray. Then I've got that warm red rock, most vibrant, a little more yellow and a little darker, where the sun is hitting that rock in the far distance. All very muted, but still warm compared to the snow on the mountains. We've got the middle ground pine trees, middle ground deciduous trees. Middle ground rock, and then the foreground sandy beach. And for that beach I can also dip into these warm colors and these darker colors to kind of create some variation. I can dip into these colors for the docks that are coming down into the water. If I want to, I can also paint those later in the studio. One color I didn't mix up is the sunlit snow. Looking out at the scene, there's a very brilliant cad yellow, almost white, where the sun is hitting it most directly. There's this, I can use this sky color for some of the snow where it's shifting into shadow. And then there's an alizarin crimson as the form of the snow turns away from the sun as well. So I'll mix those two snow colors up real quick as well. Start with this number 4 Rosemary Evergreen. I'll paint the snow on the distant peaks first. I like to put down those lightest lights first to set the lights nice and clean before there's any paint down. I'm not following what I'm seeing in the scene right now. The light is different. I'm just following the wash I put in earlier. Wind's picking up a bit, so I'm gonna have to get a move on. Something like that. I'll go into this next lightest light, this lavender. Pretty vibrant, so I don't want to use a lot, but I am seeing it in the scene. Add just a touch of cad yellow to that, and as it creeps down toward this warm rock, I'll add some touches of that. And I'll also use this as the lightest light on the clouds. Maybe a touch of this one too. Get the shadow side of the clouds. And then also the blue of the sky. I'm not really bothering to clean my brush because it doesn't have to be real clean color that far back. It's okay if the sky colors blend. Alright, now I use that same brush and come into the middle ground trees. Actually, before I do any more of that, I do like that. I think the color intensity works against that background. Yeah, that's nice. I want to paint the watering though first. I'm going to grab a clean brush. Large brush, number 7 Rosemary, Evergreen. Dip it in a little bit of Gamsol first. And I'll just use mainly the sky and mountain colors for the water. The water is really getting whipped up by the wind right now. So I'm going to go by memory. Earlier, there was a little light struck band of water out here. And even lighter through here. And then it's a little bit warmer coming down from the sun on the snow and on the rock. There's some interesting light right now out there on the scene. There's light striking this, really lighting it up. I don't want to react to that too much. Sorry if there's a lot of glare on the panel. Well, here's where it ended up. The wind's really picking up, so I'm just going to leave this foreground mostly unfinished. I threw a little bit of the snow color in that I think I observed, but it's really a subtle gray, and I think I want to play with it a little bit more when I'm not afraid of the wind knocking my easel over back in the studio to finish it. Beautiful spot, a little bit windy, a little bit cold, but wow, what beautiful scenery. Had a great time. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, if you like this, share it with a friend, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Here's the painting back in my studio after I cleaned it up just a little bit. If you'd like to see a little longer video of how I finished this up in the studio, please check out my Patreon content. You can find the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, please visit my website. I sell these little plein air pieces at a reasonable price because I consider them practice. It really makes me happy when someone likes my art enough that they want to hang it in their home. You can also sign up for my newsletter and stay up to date on my new work and shows and get a discount on original art and prints.